Yeah, it's not in there yet, Jumper.
I just put it in now.
Ah, there you go. There. Yakila, maybe you'll probably be the main interface with the questions, I think, right? You know. Does that sound sensible? Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Fortunately, not unfortunately.
Yeah, it's like tragically sensible.
Sounds like a koan. Yaki, did you get that text? You know the one that Rinpoche searched out, the Dododembe Nime text. If you didn't get it, I'll send it to you. I found it's quite interesting actually. It's got the subjects marked out in red. So, and actually, I'll try and put it in the chat. It's I think it's in English as
Yeah,
well.
I'd be grateful if you could. Yeah,
Awesome.
I'd be grateful if you could maybe send it through WhatsApp.
Yeah, I'll send you
I
through
hadn't had
WhatsApp.
a chance to do it, you know.
No, absolutely not.
Yeah.
I'll put it in the chat.
Yeah.
I found it. Uh, and I'll put it in the chat as well in Tibetan and English. But I'll send it to you directly because you won't have time to pick things up from the chat.
ניר, ניר,
שומע, כן.
א', תשים את רינפוצ'ה לקוסט,
גידרתי אותו כבר.
ותעשה הקלטה ליוטיוב.
וצריך גם את סיימון לשים כאינטרפרטר עוד פעם.
Oh, sorry.
No, Simon, you're good. You're good.
Sorry, yeah.
Hello.
All right. Yeah, I think we can begin. Welcome back, everyone. So we'll continue with the second session for today, last session for this weekend. So yeah, Rinpoche, welcome back.
סליחה, just a moment, ניר, יוטיוב.
יוטיוב, כן, רק רגע. יש לנו live on YouTube.
Sorry, Rinpoche, sorry.
Just a moment. Is it start? הוא התחיל ליוטיוב? סליחה.
No.
אז מה אני... אם ככה אני אפספס משהו. אני מבקש ממנו live on YouTube. Alors,
오케이. 음,
Okay, try la tri.
오케이.
That's all Rinpoche.
Okay. Can someone pin Simon too?
Simon is here. נירה,
Yeah.
אתה יכול לעשות hotspot לסימון ולי בבקשה?
בדרך, אבל בן עוזר לי בזה.
אוקיי, תודה.
רגע
Yeah.
אחד.
어디요?
או,
Okay,
מעולה.
good.
אפשר להתחיל.
알았어. 다 되네. 누구세요? 다 단지 인지고도 뒤치. 다 이번에 시도 준비 당하죠. 자외기 수업시 니한조비나 아니 다 신름미디 세티. 다 가서 신름미디 차와 니 시도 준비다. 신름미디 아니 알아서 다 동해람도 최단데 간지스 다디 조 알아서다 베이징 좋다 그저래 대화 친구 시내에 다 산스키 준비 추주 시내에 다 간데 민가를 따기 이네 아니 다조 아 심진 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 디던디 동행의 차바디 다기 차오년베기 아니 로 여디니 찌라 동해 남도 최단 간데지르샤 슬라베이나 시다다 니버디 차는 것을 다 이번에 심진지단 개발도 랑기 동행기 치료기 견도 주위에서 미다 미모인바 남라서 말하고 뭐망도 제네 다기 동행 디다기 너바 용화 탐지지 고치네 대다기 너바 균체바 당 다기 델레 탐지 대다라 동화당 스다 동행들도 다 당스 대다기 디두 달라 램바 동네 쯤마 춘지지 신변의 삼바종 다지 동네디 고도 송도 준비다 지단에다 고마도 개면도 단도면 전환주 막 트랜슬레이트 난도 또지만 로션이 그러봐 다디 나로네 고쳐봐 세치도 디 아주 지금 냉가지리 란주 남사준도 동랭기냐 렌체가라 동랭기 네 고치고 요리요 말에 심신 담지기 동해디 아니 조네 답변한 거란주 차샤베나 다른 단대 지난주 구유난 차샤베나 다셈나로야 간이 지슈르베데 단도 도마게 내단 차디고 요리 아니 주주미 제조셔야리 아니 간이지 요리 아니 비게 지기 딱 가지고래 민가다네 마다네 화려벌이야 양지기 아 간이하고 쉽지 체디고 요리 디 게임에다 접시기 나다로 가만 보지다 지금 야근야근하지 망고 차 대조 대조기 대조를 미지 아니 다 대다 탐지기 동행디 아니 와에 단다 동행이 용한테 되게 아니 신기 동행이 양보 거쳐을 주지 슬랍나 아니 도스 곰 답답을 준비나야 고추비요를 추비요 말에 두성 상당 것도 와 다디 나로네 고추비 주고 용부 다디게 고추 매쳐서야 돼 가르르도 슬랍이나 근데 삼로 땅 되버 점식이 고추기 요소 말이 다 고추버디 쪽 가르쳐고도스나 다 동네에 있어 봐 동네디 오순도 용아 남지 심쟁기 네 동네에서 막 라디기 요럴 때 아주 인지게 마손에 신기 동네에 나와 미수비글로 세디 네 말기 봐도 아주 동네기 네가 땡고 요래 신기 동네에 나와 미수비글로 숙침부 지 가서 숙치를 땅야디 동네 마체발 자원이네 아주 신기 동네 세고 슬랍지 테스트 지그 초아게베이나디 배도 쪼고 싶으래 다디베도 아주 마서 시트 미니멈이 손을 지래 개체쇼도 동네 거쳐봤어야지 신기 동네 그 소환하는도 시기 베 sometimes you should charge it 동네 아니 디간 디 시기 디 들어서 아 균주 타고디 아니 벌써 단다 디 도와지는 그래서 그래서 대달비는 디도 마세지도 단계 거도 말 어디도 같아 치료기 견도 주베스 미엄 미마임바 남라 마르고마 망도 제네스 다조 랑란조도 시제 커도 되는 것만 힘을 선도 주요래데 남시 통험에 매박이 삼로지기당 리버도 조금 도단직 삼로당 연류 대다기 간에 쳐버데 내급 점시 좀 말이 주 고조 스터디 nga상nga사진 조버래 랑란조기 저와디에 지기 커도 단다 딜 말에대 이나야 가면 나가서 랑란조기 파팬다 추팬다 방부치 예배기 나로네 다 알렌데 지기 아니 그냥 훨씬 봤으면도 진진교회네 파만 된지다 간연 되는 된지나를 대바 추버디다 당 얘기 동행 컨디션 용바디게 회초버 주지 아니 동행도 추 내배선으로 지제 다 10지구의 선으로 정원도 잠배 아니 고 동행디 이게 그 영대에다 수수기 되네 제메기 곰디 곰디 조 곰고의 겸센데 가르스나 활종으로 초화들이게 되게 그러 수수 초화들이게 온데 수수 동네에 되는 지마롱 냐비 인중도 삼고 때부지게 원나시 신 동네에 되는 삼비기 초화디 수수 세워지 쇠마토나 신 동네에 되는 차오 냐비 로디 초화 축침부 신기 동네기 소화딩한 좀 또선 제마토는 연구 말봐 디다 주 아주만 손에 네 SK요 말이 디코 소화딩 용어들 지금 삼로 배 디코랑 지가서 그래 마신 전혀 좀 봐. 전혀 소화라 소보도 삼로데 센다니라 녀라 땅인데 엔 대다든지 동네에 내나다 만 빙마소스 나 우당 당빈 쇠바면도 세계 닝지든지 깨고 되잖아 신의 아니 아주 동네 체벽 거쳐네 세다 거쳐네 대다게 너버 균체 받아 다디고 탐자래 네마도 균체를 쇼람 되고요 말이야 체받아 사변답지 땅에 지기 대다 델로 탐지 대다기 있어 델로 탐지 대다라 동하다 다기서 건다 다기서 대다기 동에 다라 렘베서 동네 제마 전제기 배네 삼바종한테 네 제고레스 어디 가전스나 그래서 우리 다시 샬레미디 아니 동네 남도 봐 계단티 어디서 보였어
בשיעור הקודם, שהתרחש לפני קצת יותר משעה, אנחנו סיימנו לדבר על חמלה. הנקודה האחרונה שעסקה בחמלה היא הייתה החלק הראשון של ההוראות של המנסון קאפה, שעסקו בלקיחת סבל כדרך תוך כדי התמקדות
taking your suffering as a path through focusing on others. And so and so this is so both in the context of taking suffering onto the path, but one in relation to oneself and then one in relation to others. So this section here, in relation to focusing on others, then whatever kind of name you like to give the tradition that we're generally connected to, whether you want to call it the Mahayana, the Great Vehicle tradition, or the Sanskrit tradition, whatever name we give to it, then the that sense of understanding sentient beings suffering and the sort of wish to be free, the wish for those sentient beings to be free from each and every form of suffering is something which is highly sort of prized or highly valued. So then the text reads, after extensively meditating on humans and non-humans who are external conditions for the suffering of sentient beings in general, and particularly in relation to your own suffering as being your mother's, make effort in training your mind, beginning with considering your own suffering to be in lieu of the harmful experiences of sentient beings, so that its continuity is cut off, through to a contrived practice of giving and taking, where we send them all your happiness and well-being and take their negativities and suffering upon yourself. So obviously this is the context of the practice of giving and taking, the Mahayana greater vehicle or Sanskrit tradition practice of taking and giving. And what we have to sort of look at is what is it that makes up or fulfills the sort of it fulfills the role or fulfills the kind of definition or it fulfills the role of what it means to practice what is the practice of giving and taking as described here, and at the moment, at the moment, particularly in many of the people here in the teachings lives, in the current environment, the social and political environment, of course, the thing that is probably most foremost, the thing foremost in people's minds is the current situation with the war in Israel and Gaza. And this is the thing that probably is the greatest difficulty to many people here today, and is something which is bringing probably the greatest amount of kind of stress and difficulty to people. And also whatever the political situation is, but there are many complications and difficulties. And so perhaps in relation to these kind of circumstances, we can also look at what it means to cultivate this practice of giving and taking, and what it means, what is it that fulfills the kind of fulfills the role of, or which which is effectively performs the function of giving and taking. And so in a sense, when we look at the samsaric world, there are the tremendous, looking at the wider world, there are the tremendous varieties of different kinds of suffering of the sentient beings. And that having that sense in which we're not able to, and what's one very important part of this practice of giving and taking is that if we're not able, when we're talking about how to start practicing giving and taking, if we're not able, if we really have that sense in which we're really not, we have very low threshold for being able to bear the sufferings of others, to bear the suffering of other sentient beings, to be able to encounter and bear and be okay with the sufferings of other sentient beings, then as long as we have very little resilience and very little ability to withstand other sentient beings suffering, then it's very difficult for the practice. It's very difficult to then fulfill the function of then moving on to the practice of giving and taking. So if we just having a little feeling, some sense or feeling of in relation to other suffering, but that's just like but what we really need is this from the depths of our heart, and where it says beginning with one's own suffering in lieu of the harmful experiences of others, so that its continuity is cut off. So we have to have this real, from the depths of deep in our hearts, this understanding of other people's suffering. Now, one of the things that it begins with a kind of contrived understanding, and one of the reasons we were sort of think it is difficult for us is that often we don't perceive any direct relationship between. We perceive direct relationships with people like our parents or those loved ones around us, but we don't have we don't, but actually we have to understand the deeper relationship of how we are actually related to, we have helped mutually been of benefit and received benefit from all of the different sentient beings. And then what we do is by developing a feeling with our here as it says, considering our own suffering and the wish to be able to be free from that, we then kind of shift that or take on the feeling, develop the feeling of suffering for others. And Jackie's finished. And so this sense of really wishing to be free, a strong wish for others to be free, and which is connected with the first 3 points of the 7-point cause and effect relation training and developing bodhicitta, where we understand others to be our mother, that we understand the gratitude and we wish to repay the gratitude and hold those very close to us, and then conjoin that in a sense with our practice, the practice of breathing and then taking on their suffering and giving them their happiness. This is what fulfills our kind of promise, or fulfills the role of this is what is really performs the function of practicing of giving and taking.
Okay. 딘디기 다 돈이 냠서 라바 될 때니 아니 지기 가서 그래 랑기 동해다 신기 동해세데 랑다 신세기 카 파베 추베만도 지기 동해지 연 탐지 얘기 매버 수 타주 세기 달로 정보 딘디지 개체비 쇼데라 다테네 아니 간조만 손에 다 탑시르도 가르요 그러시나 다 가르쳐 그래 디월에 용그래 다 탑시르도 마손은 요나 맨나데 아니 신 동네리 아니 탈베 짐버 제야레마도 아니 어란 저기 동네 검지 신기 디고 타기요나 아주 디고 타고 그래 가진 산지 좀된 대당 겨울을 며칠 처음에 다 딘진 기전 담바 용수 조배기 냠네 니만 다 버리시 요요 아니 디 동네 나나버봐 타고 디 타고면 누가 제자장 갔다 디기 캡상라고 디 마소네 아주 동네 집이기 캡상디 아니 얘는 청주 짐벌라 아니 깔리 큐니메 아주 마소네 가 큐니 청주 뭐다 큐랑 취에 거라 시에 먹었을 라베이나야 얘기 청주도 뭐지금 봐도 얘기 원에 되는 와 가서 예수 대금에 스타 캐넨디를 봐 대인도 전에 아니 가서 그래 아주 심게들이야 아니 망고에 나도 전에 다 개보다 심게시를 전에 당에 상제주 고방 토지 아니 얘기 시행을 전주 정부 진벌이 지마체나 아니 심신기 감담 매바지만 지신지 한번 거발라 얘기 시에 두고 말에 된시에 두고 말에 디에 샤도도 세드 디인등 얘기 상제주 고방 토부도 냐베 로제 원도 점에 다단다 구슬리 그 소소리 거네스 류바도 매버 주디에세디 또 수구두비야기 교도 수구유서리 다다 조지기 아니 별이야 아니 디 초과들이야 아니 되바시다 제도가 니 제정을 구슬리기 아니 관에 조사지 중 체비나 엔 변신 부게 요르스다 변신 부를 그런 주고 더 나치는 디그리 디 두점베다 관에 아니 류바도 매버 주데스 강방 강데 강라 강데바 때바메 버렸어 때바시 샤르라 레망도 제바당스 디주두서 고슴 탐제 랑시메비 따웨기 제답데 멜람 라보치 심진치다 뇌제 대다기 등도 삼바타부 반에 나 대바니 나베스 다더니 디나로를 계시주 직디 가르도스나 다든데기 아니 가서 그래 수수 지기 딱 하루 범스는데 답에 산지기 딱 예, 뭔가 심정이 되는 집에 내가 개발진들이 더 될 때네 아니 땅아 좀 와서네 디 언제 이게 로종 된데만 나를 숨는 신 아니 동린이 뭐 빼말 좀 시제네 에 우중국이 거네 아니 주 가서 그래 롱주 듀 나랑이야 듀 원도 전에 아니 신기 동해랑라 내바다 아니 지네마 우치를 마 땅도 전에 랑기 대화 탐지 아니 대화디 가주 대화디 기부가 랑주게 저 기부디 인사 말도 디 대화디 아니 사과메베 대화 하바도 아니 대화 친구스다 nga ge jadi mo mene de do zo de ani 동반이 오송도 통배기 아니 대화 해버지 어디 아니 얘기부터 시안을 마땅 인세제 아니 딘제기 다 동네니 뭐 빼먹어 좀 쓰도 잡에 아니 파 초, 나올 템바다 파 되바다 저기 냠낸 딘나 신체제다 냠낸 딘라버지 체원도 잡에 아니 텔레바베 아니 고 마음발라 산지 수구도 보고 요르바 아니 강라 강두지 아니 수구도 두비하게 다스 사벤도 마손에 세데다 수구두지기 다 그래서 그래가 저기 롱다 셈다 다 지게 셈 한번다 좀 하고 시고 그러봐 어디서 상마디 난다 뒤리고 있어요 구슬리기 추가 나나 강라 강데와 빠도 매버 때와 샤르라 망도 제바다 대주도니 개체셔데 다 디주도 아니 코섬 터지 랑심에 바 디에다 보고도 마도 지게 아니 또 가서 그래 답 가리네르다 디 코섬 넘버 탑에 디에답 세야디 냠nen디 과리네 그 지하 자사 요래 베나 다른 거란 저기 캡블 때문에 있네데 아니 작업세버 제바 있나리 아니 디벌 좀 제바다 개발아 가와 제바 가리 제사비 슈고들이야 어느 코스미 미미비 도네 코스미 시도 잠베 다 냠내 제바 보도 보보라니 누가 지역에도 최가리네 냠내 가리네 아니 디 가리는 미니 제세기 인 시티 디 순발로 아니 그래서 그래 랑심의 베기 아니 규모다벽이 안에 아니 수셔 규모다벽 안에 자와치 규모다벽 안에 아니 수뒤 아니 파도 제일 뉴지 제국리스 남국리스 서버 탑바니 내가 응아베세 지도아 디게 월 찌지도 응아베세 응아바세 디 전다디 파 세르당비나 배신 대란 학부의 돼요 매장 대란 학부 제게 매빈자 딩아버레스 대리 샴바도 상말로 아부 제 요레스 이나 응아버게 말레스 딩아버레스 요즘에 대를 하고 셰메도 선배 띵하고 그래스 나 베스 나 인자 어디 봐도 그냥 주는 게 안되는 맛도 또 수도
And so
אנחנו מתרגלים
uh,
את המדיטציה שבה אנחנו
then we come to so then we come to this section of you know, the wish to get rid of other suffering and thinking about so we have these two, we have our suffering and we have the others' suffering, and then but actually the way we should be thinking about it is not so much in terms of us and them, ours and others, but we should be thinking in that sense of whatever kind of suffering there is, I will seek to clear it away, to dispel it. And that then that leads us on to an immediate question as to what is the method or practice that we employ in order to do that. So there are amazing, you know, in history, there are the Buddha himself, there are the great masters, we have His Holiness, the Dalai Lama himself, who all practice daily, do the practice of giving and taking. So, and so it's, but of course, despite all of those great masters doing the practice of giving and taking, it doesn't mean that the taking on the suffering of others and giving them our happiness means that will manifestly occur in the world. So, but we have to think about, okay, we won't necessarily actually be able to remove the suffering of others, and we won't necessarily be able to give them our happiness. But there is an advantage to doing this practice, and that advantage is that it makes it much easier for us to traverse the path towards enlightenment by giving us the kind of it gives us the arena of our motivation, and the kind of strength to do that, so that we will be able to with this practice of giving and taking, we will feel able to work along that path without feeling the need for any to rest, or, you know, without resting to pursue this path. And in relation to that, when we talk about the different kinds of bodhicitta, there's one form of the mind of enlightenment called the king-like bodhicitta. And that is really what we should focus, this sense of where we wishing to attain the state of enlightenment, and therefore to be able to reveal or to help the other sentient beings to then follow the path. So we, first of all, attaining that state, but we need to attain that state in order to do that. Then in the text, it talks about, through gathering the accumulations of kusali, emanate innumerable bodies, and practice many times a day, giving unconditionally whatever the other sentient beings need. So this, I think, is talking about the accomplishment of the form at the time of achieving enlightenment, the accomplishment of the form body. And this, I think this practice was particularly praised by Atisha, mentioned by Atisha, and of being great benefit for accumulating merit and clearing away and dispelling the stains, the negative stains. Then it says, culminate by sealing it with the view that everything in the three spheres lacks inherent existence. And then it says, making enormous heartfelt aspirational prayers for the sake of sentient beings in general and for harm doers in particular is praiseworthy. So obviously the state of Buddhahood is the state of the greatest potential to be of potential to help sentient beings. And the way of practice of the giving and taking is to training and giving in breathing in, we take on all of the multitude of different sufferings of the other beings, and then out breath, we give them all of our happiness. But this happiness, I don't think we should think of this just as in general happiness, the happy things of our life. I think it's more specific, and that in terms of the, you know, the very the very deep practices of things the greatest of happiness, things like great bliss. And so also it mentions in the 7-point mind training text about practicing alternately on the in relation to the practice of giving and taking, in relation to the in and out breath, this alternate practice. So breathing in all of the suffering and giving away all of our happiness. And I think that this is a kind of seed to help with the accomplishment of the form body of the Buddha. And that, perhaps I don't know how to say it as a seed, but something like the accomplishing mental states which will help us to achieve the form body, which is here mentioned as the deity Kusali. And then it says, come anything by seeing it with the view that everything in the three spheres lacks inherent existence. And this is something that we should, whatever practice, Dharma practice we're doing, we should always finish that, whether it's sort of, you know, delight in virtue, confession, negativity, whichever practices, spiritual Dharma practices we do, they should be sealed at the end by this understanding of the three spheres of the all the aspects. So if, for instance, all the objects of engagement of the particular practices as being empty of inherent existence. So that is what that seals the practice through the three spheres. So that should be, and so in the sense, and this can be thought of as in the sense of seeing everything to be illusory like. And then at the end it talks about this being praiseworthy. And in terms of being praiseworthy, it says making an almost heartfelt aspirational prayers for the sake of sentient beings in general and harm doers in particular is praiseworthy. And what that means, when praiseworthy has a very specific meaning here, it means that there is nothing more praiseworthy. That is the thing of great, it is the greatest quality, and therefore something which there is nothing more praiseworthy than that.
בעצם רגע, לפני שאני אחזור לנקודה הזאת, נשאיר לרגע בצד את התרגול של 3 הספרות. יש עוד משהו אחד שלא אמרתי. באחד הטקסטים לאימון התודעה, יש טקסט שנקרא 7 נקודות של אימון התודעה של גשי צ'קאווה. הוא מדבר על...
Oh yeah, sorry, Geshe Chikawa. Geshe Chikawa's 7-point mind training, I forgot. But from there it talks about this alternation of the in and out breaths and the practice of giving and taking.
כאשר אנחנו נושפים או נושפים החוצה, אנחנו מדמים בעיני רוחנו שאנחנו נותנים לאחרים את העושר וגורמי העושר. כאשר אנחנו נושמים פנימה, אנחנו מדמיינים בעיני רוחנו שאנחנו לוקחים על עצמנו את הסבל ואת גורמי הסבל של אחרים. אז אנחנו משלבים את התרגול של קוסלי, של שליחת גופי ההצלה, ביחד עם מדיטציה של לתת ולקחת, שמשולבת ביחד עם תהליך הנשימה. ונחזור עכשיו לנקודה של למה צונקרפה מדבר בה על שילוב עם תהליך הנשימה, שילוב עם התבוננות בריקות של 3 הספרות. הריקות של 3 הספרות אומר שאנחנו, תרגול הזה מתעמק בכך שאני המתרגל מושא התרגול שלי, התרגול עצמו, מה שאני נותן וכולי, כל הדברים האלה הם ריקים מקיום אינהרנטי. התרגול הזה שמתמקד בריקוד של 3 הספרות הוא לא רק רלוונטי פה לנתינה, אלא גם בבקשת מקלט, בביצוע פעולות שהן פעולות חסד, בשמחה בפעולות חסד, הימנעות מפעולות שליליות וכולי. בכל הפעולות האלה אנחנו גם מזכירים לעצמנו את הריקוד של 3 הספרות. התופעות לא מתקיימות באופן אינהרנטי, אבל הן עדיין מתקיימות.
So it says in the 7-point mind, Geshe Chikawa 7-point mind training, train in the two, giving and taking alternately. These two are to be mounted on the breath. So that's the reference to in Geshe Chikawa's 7-point mind training. That's the reference that Rinpoche was referring to.
החשיבות של לראות את 3 הספרות כריקות מקיום אינהרנטי. זאת הדרך המצוינת ביותר להשלים את התרגול, לתת לתרגול את העומק, את הדגש הגדול ביותר. אני רק רוצה לוודא שאמרתי את הכל. אוקיי. פה למה צונקאפה אומר לנו גם בסוף הוא אומר בסוף הפסקה הזאת. נשיאת תפילות עצומות מעומק ליבנו למען בעלי התודעה ככלל, ובפרט למען אלו שפוגעים בנו ובאחרים היא ראויה לשבח. אז בפרט למען אלה שפוגעים בנו ובאחרים, אפילו נשיאת תפילות מעומק ליבנו למענם היא ראויה לשבח, היא נחשבת אפילו אולי לתרגול המשובח ביותר, הטוב ביותר, טוב יותר מתרגולים אחרים. לעשולה.
올라서 대방아 베스다 네 계절 용무실 전에 나조디 디르도가 담보디 신의미디 동해 람도 켜봐 될 때네 이 랑주기 닝지디 공배도 당바 될 때네 아니 신의 창주 전부지 때고 냠비기 상로드제 대양 아니 동번이기 심베 로디기 동니 도베 로디기 아니 슈감 디기 그래서 그래 지심베 토네 아니 고좀 담제랑 신지메 봤다베 게다데 메람 라보치 심전치다 내제 대다기 다 내제스도 수술이야 동의들이 심전 다다 다 탐지기 된도 삼바타바네 네바니 다디 추가도 주버치리샤 디인두스 다디는 dom침부데 디인두 디 계절기 무실제네스 디 계절 무실이스 곰데신 튼점수 기데스다 셴바 가리 계절 가리 지기네를 데 곰데세도가 하곰바 송화 장바 대다 탐지래 신 튼점수 기데스 베나 레버르 고웨스 공부를 쇼 세드셈베 아니 송사디 서로 송고르세도 랑게 라마지리아 슈고르바 엔두셈베 아니 된제지나나 야고시부지 용사를 세진 슈에 인스 구십도 된부터 송야디 따다 송버리 디 엔두셈베 아란조 남샤준도 대화를 붙이 가르송고요 안줘라 말하이 nenjo부터 아니 대바다들이 제야다 지금 켈레만 보여도 좀 고민이면 뭔고 요르스 이쪽 강한 요조를 제 아니 니마 강 다직 두줄 별로 중보다 나 전주선 또 많이 검대 순고에게 nen가데 데르다 무시디리스 데 인도점베 디 무시르제네스 검대 튼점수 디데 페나 레버 코웨스 가르코그레스 도점베 아니 아란주겠다 단타기 동해 남도 신 좀전도 체벌 때네 근데 동해 남도 개바당 세대 때네 인지 공배도 로바당 아니 동번이 또베 로디기 아니 로디야 기본도 선배 아니 신기 동해 출 랑베 선답지체 아니 파더 출래야디 중배인데 파 땅에도 고글 봐. 파 땅에도 가르당기 있으라는데 다닝지 아카스 데데 마임바 파당야디 콘솔라 청주 고대 요모 라린 깨워 매버지 아니 고버 집에 고대인데 떼버 지기 세도 점배에 청주 청부 들어와 다 청주 들이다 청주 청부선 청주 때 떼버 지기 네 인도 점배다 네니 대진나로나 세제 아니 동의고디 뉴니지만도 순구 말이 디나로라 가르진스나 동의고 대기 이게 강강들이야 아니 자벨라만 코란 가르스나 템베 잘라 송송아 강강데 봐 이제 차병 고마 조건데 템베 잘라 세도 좀다 다 템베 잘라 베세도 저랑 템베 잘라세도 동이 또 봤으면 동이 그 고압에 태치be 요되니지 뉴스 워 세상 같다 망고 쉬고 해요 말이스 따이네 까마자베치도 쉬고 인스 아니 동이디 게타브는 다가랑 리사레스 어디 수고 있으랬다 공부를 쇼스 대단한 제네사 다 대단한 제나 신라 계획이 계전도 좋아 동네 다顶신의 아주 좋다 다 신의 아주 좋고 이나 빼고요 대단한 제나 신라 계획이 계전도 좋아 동네에서 땅 아주 디 견도를 통과로 봐 동네 좀도 최저 마토 최체발라 대부 당부 끼우지고 여러마도 누구 통원도 준비 아니 최진 제로치고요 말해 제당 같다 셴리아 된지 아니 고급 매대바디 안한조다 제르비체당 공길라마데라 아니 계진 셴라 계획 계진디 아니 안조로 조서 정도 조서 원웨스 개념 람도 롱베 땡의 양도 쿠비 아니 두 기회 신에도 주루토바로 주베 람도 찔러놓은 제네스 아니 돈바로 롱 중마당 쓰다 저 라고 또 중마당 라마다 예든 여하면 소왔답신스 다시네 아니 전주를 쓰면 이 골골을 직종도 점에 아니 디 신에 아니 이담다 하벨하다 아니 되절이야 다 소왔답치 아니 가지 유중부를 떠만지네 다 당동이한 된다고 될라네 하바 통시 시도 점에 다 간이 들레체 위에 다 있는 캐셔스 잘 지긴스 다 간이 충중 위에 고잡사를 다 간이 침보 간들이 계속은 당에 계도 쇠투설에 있어야 돼 덴베스 혹시 제가 딩단 덴베 대다기 유 못을 버스 대다기 시도 가래 동해 침보 간들이 캐니 오면 대다기 랑주 미추버 애는 계속 계획 줘서 따वर 차고 단 되는 동네 충rum내 냠소 랑나스 동네 충중훈에 땅 안저를 송거다 동네 충중훈에 고주다스 좀 냠소 랑나 동네 첨불로 종을 송배 제대로 공부를 다 첨부도 줘 남상 연구 말이데 충중훈에 고주소나 첨불로 랑다 연구 말이스 어디를 치지 다 쇼도 줘
Okay. And so then also just to recount this the second paragraph there, where at the end of the second paragraph, so having sealed with the view of the three spheres, it says making enormous heartfelt aspirational prayers for the sake of sentient beings in general and for harm doers in particular is praiseworthy. So this is the I repeat again, this is the kind of the most praiseworthy, the highest of qualities. And so and then it says do this as the actual training in virtue and do other meditations and recitations in between sessions. I advise you to alternate them between them as it is understood to be good. So here we're sort of so the whole context is from above, from the two main outlines of the text. So here we're talking about taking suffering as a path through focusing on others, and particularly on focusing on others' suffering, and this developing in us the compassion which compassion, but then also that wish to the wish to give to others, to be able to offer to others complete enlightenment. And this compassionate mind that is kind of almost like a bodhicitta that wishes to do that is held within the grasp of or within the power or the strength of the mind, which understands emptiness and particularly understands the lack of inherent nature of the three spheres as discussed. And so this is the best thing. This is, and so connecting this is, so it says do this as the actual practice, the actual training. But what the nushi is called nushi, it means like the central practice, the actual meat of the practice. So to do this, so whatever other, so then it says, and in training, actual train, do this as the actual training in virtue, and do other meditations and recessions in between sessions. So what it's saying is that there are all these other kinds of practices that, offerings, particularly things like recitations of mantras, and we need to, but we need to understand that this kind of compassionate wish to be able to offer to others the greatest of enlightenments held within the understanding of the lack of inherent nature is the actual virtue. And then we sort of we offer so we sort of offer also we should this is the practice that we should offer up to our lamas, our teachers and lamas with respect. If we're able to do this kind of practice, this is a great kind of offering to offer to our teachers. And also, remember His Holiness sort of says about doing many sort of deity yoga practices, but for him it boils down to I think he said his Holiness sometimes says like when the time is a little bit the main point of all of those practices is the understanding of emptiness and the practice of bodhicitta and the understanding of emptiness, which are the core of all of those other deity yoga practices. And so we develop in our minds this so it says, if you practice accordingly what for others, sufferings that become the favorable conditions for virtue is in actuality for you befriending with the excellent. Hence difficulties are taken into the path and bad omens are turned into fortune, so that the Maras could be transformed into spiritual friends. So we developing this sense of the understanding of compassion and increasing that to be able to take on into others. So we take on the suffering of others, but we actually need to be able, if we take something from the others, we need to be able to give something back. And so what we shouldn't give back is not just that sense of we're going in Tibetan, they say aka or ninja, like, oh gosh, how terrible, or oh, poor thing. It shouldn't be like that. The greatest gift that we could offer back to the sentient beings is the full enlightenment, the great enlightenment, and the cessation of all obscurations, which is the quality of the great enlightenment. So and also in this text, you see, there's a little, actually as a side, there's a little bit of a mention of emptiness within this text up at the beginning when he talks about the root of the teachings, and this is kind of related to and here down here he talks about sealing the practices with emptiness and the root of the teachings, which is connected with the realization and understanding of emptiness. But there's not that much that he actually talks about. But it's there in the background, and then as the text then reads, whatever whatever you take into the path, as soon as you get discouraged, supplicate the Lama that is invisible from the Yidam and offer Torma to obstructing spirits, confidently promising that in the future we will do even better. With this, see that your continuum is undisturbed and accompanied by virtue. So we here so what's a very so we supplicate the Buddhas, the Yidams, these we supplicate the deities and the Yidams and our gurus, the Buddhas and the Yidams, and we make offerings. And at the end, there's a very important point that's made here, and that is that it is said that if you gradually practice with small sufferings, you will become adept with great suffering, and hence consider that accordingly. So this is a great advice because it encourages us to start small. So start doing this practice with small sufferings. We don't need to immediately rush into the sense of taking responsibility or for exchanging greater sufferings, and slowly we will become adept at being able to take on to be able to forbear greater and greater sufferings. So this concludes the body of the text that we've been doing today. So there was one. So there's one. So that yes, so the emptiness is not mentioned. So although the emptiness is not mentioned very directly here, but it is connected to where it says right at the top of the text, where he said we already have this corpus of the teachings, and I gave you a kind of sort of interpretation of what that means yesterday, which is connected to the context of understand. So, and it says it's inappropriate to create something in addition to what already exists. So there's always that background of information on the empty nature, and in the text, J. Rinpoche also mentions the ceiling with the three seals at the bottom, but there's not. But I haven't here. What Rinpoche is saying is J. Rinpoche hasn't here mentioned it so much because it's already a kind of background context.
והוא חותם את הטקסט, מסיים את הטקסט עם האמירה שמאחר ונאמר שאלו שמתרגלים כשסבלם מועט כמונו, רוכשים בהדרגה מיומנות להתמודד עם סבל גדול. אז כאן למה צונקפה הוא פונה אלינו, הוא אומר, מאחר ונאמר שאלו שמתרגלים כשסבלם מועט, רוכשים בהדרגה מיומנות להתמודד עם סבל גדול, אני חולק זאת עמכם. אפשר לומר, אני ממליץ זאת. הוא ממליץ לנו לעשות את זה. אני רוצה לחזור לרגע, זה מה שרימפוצ'ה אמר, אני רוצה לחזור לרגע לפסקה הזאת, יש פה עוד משהו אחד שאני צריך לעמוד עליו. למה צונקפה, אני תרגמתי את השורה הזאת, כי למה צונקפה אומר, אני ממליץ לתרגל זאת לסירוגים משום שזה נחשב טוב. אם נחזור לרגע לסיפור המסגרת של הטקסט הזה, הטקסט הזה נכתב כתשובה לבקשה של אחד ממוריו של הדלאי למה. אז זה לא סליחה, לאחד ממוריו של למה צונקפה. עכשיו, זה לא שלמה צונקפה ממליץ למורה שלו לתרגל את זה. בשפה הטיבטית, הדרך שבה צונקפה פונה למורה שלו היא בכבוד. אני צריך לחשוב איך אני מנסח את זה טוב יותר בעברית, אבל כאן בטקסט עצמו, למה צונקפה אפשר לומר, הוא מנמיך את עצמו ואומר, אני חולק איתך, אפשר לומר, עם המורה שלו את התרגול הזה, את ההמלצה הזאת, לתרגל את זה כך. לאסולה.
라소. 다도 이제 인피젠다 슝디 지가소레 얘들이 마 제버르데 당부이 아니 지란줄이야 지란줄 땡체 앵예데 지슝디 제주충 말아야 들이야 냠내 차창원지도 거부를데 이나야 어두도 지도 제용들 된지 중나 지마로 냠베기 소화를 주고 이거도가 다고 제다 마치세야 당 아니 용도 미용세야 디 다소소소기 냠nen당 아니 수수 디나로려야 팬연도 양내 양도 로 통배나고 주게지리 아 따디 인도점배 강달전 지난주 투지거진 된지다 니들이 송 투르비나를 쇼딩이기다 지름부치기 아니 가르소르다 아 동해 남도 체베 당가뉴 세야디 다 자침부도 도시지 아 지난주도 구도 올링 쉐기 그거 좀 백업죠 네 이제 가서 우리 다마 프렌즈 그런저 베이직이 선반 넘버 답에 더네 아니 지기 가서 우리 반대 되줘라 미만라 가주 편多多几下列能够当东西那样안디던디 저지 나로나 아니 다 지가소래 당한저 내가 제대로선 로비도 세미나 간이 루즈인데는 영향이 요 말이 이게 텔레코 믹스에게 지금 부양부치네 최장 심슈게 어 가서 그래 갱이 고디에게 요 말이 갱이 아주 마선네 람도 체제 바가강네 군드야레만 또 지금 그것도 체제 sembo posu to 데비는 초석해요 말과 대인도 좀 되게 차지하는 그런 주대 지금 최근 돌린시야를 써보다 아니 semso 당연히 써보도 저 야부스탄은 또 아니 디보르들이야 저런 여기 저런 게 야부스탄은 도지 치스 녀슈이 아니 다 참말로 아니 도지 치 거린치 아니 당와 몰람 야부지나로나 아니 알아주다 개wakang 사베 지금 시 년퇴 강토도 지 삼로스당 대기 저부를 땡제 아니 지금 라양 되게 아니 취 땡캔당 아니 취 인간은 제게 대다 담지 구지 켜배대 봐 나와도 인자와를 붙이 아니 되네 지금 리수마 집이 땡진 계전 담바 다 지금 제민 토부 유니에네 민케케 메디니 지금 마사 송지 되니 타나 아니 던두심제 나로데 고 땡진 계전 담비기 남주도 여도 열심히 온도도 담지에 배 심진기 돼. 네, 배밀hun 유튜버다. 대자마세 라야 아니 그런 존의 신기 지기 친구 제트비에게 심진을 된 친구 제바다. 랑니네 타바토트에지. 아니 줄줄 쇼시제니 뭐 나로나 아니 답 대투스 도지체. 아니 아주 다 교회 직니 지내제니 다 잠샤샤 봐. 도시
Zande Rinpoche dinde die Tiwa Retsnitz tande die
And so this is and then this is the ending of the text of the explanation was set forth by the glorious Lobsang Drakpa that was exhorted from afar by the Lord of Scripture, Reasing, Nielsen, the Rinchen. So that's so then we've completed the text for this particular sort of Dharma meeting. And so hopefully we develop some kind of feeling, particularly in terms of because the main kind of subject of the text being the taking of suffering onto the path, and of course, whether these things are accomplished or not accomplished, it does rely on our own practice, and also I encourage you all to think about and that sort of strength of our practice also relies on the sense of thinking about or seeing the benefits of the practices, and I feel a great sense of gratitude to be able to have thanks to the Dharma Friends of Israel who requested me to teach, and then I feel a great sense of gratitude and interest to this text from the sort of one of the kind of miscellaneous or associated works of Lama Tsongkhapa, Rinpoche. And for me, it was a great opportunity. I feel great gratitude for the opportunity to be able to study and teach this text on taking using suffering or taking suffering onto the path. And the Dharma Friends of Israel have always very earnestly and very sincerely, I thank them for their tremendous amount of work that they do and encourage them to keep going. It's important for us to retain a kind of sense of hope and to be a little bit kind of relaxed or as much as we can, given all of the circumstances that difficult circumstances that go on. It's important for us to remain a little bit hopeful, a little bit light and courageous, and to keep training even when there are even when unconducive or complicated conditions arise for us, that we don't get too stressed out and uptight. So I hope that I feel that this discussion and Dharma meeting that we've had has been very useful, and thank all of you for joining and uh, to make sure that we dedicate all of the good things that we've done, whatever from our from hearing the teachings, listening to the teachings, studying the teachings, and then contemplating them, to really that all of the for all of the lives of the great beings and His Holiness the Dalai Lama will all be that all their wishes will be spontaneously fulfilled, and that their lives will be they remain stable, and that all of us, all the sentient beings, and that for all the sentient beings, that they will, including ourselves, will all be able to attain a kind of liberation from our suffering and the attainment of the fully enlightened state. So it's important at the end of this teaching to make sure that we dedicate the merit that we've attained in this way. So thank you very much to everyone. And then there's still a little bit of time left, so what we'll do now is have if people have some questions, we'll have a little bit of question and answer.
בסיום המפגש להיום, ואנחנו עוד יש לנו עוד אולי זמן לשאלה אחת או שתיים, אבל בסיום אנחנו גם רוצים להקדיש את כל פוטנציאל הזכות שצברנו ביחד באמצעות הלימוד הזה, ואנחנו יכולים לחשוב על קודם כל על כל המורים, וגם כל המתרגלים שמתרגלים את שיעוריו של הבודה, יכולים לחשוב עליהם, לכלול אותם בתפילות שלנו, ולשאוף לכך מורים כמו הדלאי למה, אבל לא רק הוא, אלא גם מורים אחרים, מסורות אחרות, מורים שהם מפורסמים, וכאלה שאין להם, שהם לא מפורסמים, או שמם לא הולך לפניהם, אבל גם מתרגלים שהם רגילים, מתרגלים שאף אחד, שאנחנו לא מכירים, כאלה שהכוונות שלהם היא להיות לתועלת עבור אחרים, לו כל האוסף הגדול של המורים והמתרגלים יצליח להגשים את כל מה שהם חפצים בו בצורה מהירה, בצורה ספונטנית, ובאופן אישי כשאנחנו חושבים עלינו, אנחנו גם יכולים לשאוף, לאחל לעצמנו במהרה להגיע להערה, להגיע למצב החירות ולהגיע להערה. לעסולה.
Okay, 투지체. Thank you everybody. 다음 question 디 뭐가지? So so Yagila and all you have been doing the question and answer, so no need for the question and answer session, because I wanted to quit quite early today. Just kidding. So anyway, you ought to take good care of yourself, and then at this difficult moment, I want each and everybody to work together and to be the like kind of a support, big support to each and everyone. So this is how we call good teamwork. And also, this is needed in family. This is needed in this the country. In every country, we need this sort of thing. So we have to support each other. So this is, if we say in a like a quite importantly big broad way, then it's called bodhicitta. But then we just make it smaller and portable, then it's supporting each other. Of course, this is how we expand, and this is how we make it portable. So, so this is not a time for us to feel like, what should I do? No, this is not a time. So the time is we should be there when somebody is thinking like, oh, what will gonna happen? You will just talk and then encourage the other person. Okay, so this is why I wanted to when Iki and Gila, and they told me if this will be very good if I can come. So mostly I was so happy to come to support you. This is what I'm thinking is the best part. So please keep continuing, and then hopefully see you very soon in Israel. And so you, until then, you practice well, I try to practice well, and we come together and we can share something to each other. Okay, thank you very much. And the rest are the people who are not from Israel, and it goes same message. Okay, so thank you very much. Take care.
Thank you, Rinpoche.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Rinpoche. Yaki, you want to translate before?
Yeah.
So I can
as-
I can go, or I need to stay.
And so, Rinpoche, maybe you stay for one more minute. Ben would like to thank you
Okay.
officially, and after that, I will after you leave, I will translate whatever you say to the Israeli crowd.
Okay. Okay. Go. Okay.
Okay.
Good.
So for the official thank you, Rinpoche. Thank you very much, Teacher Nang, for this wonderful teaching. And thank you also Venerable Katzen and Simon for translating and making these teachings available, accessible for all of us. Just for all of your information, the recordings of the Hebrew translation are already available in the Dharma Friends of Israel YouTube channel, and the recording in English will also be available very soon in the same channel, Dharma Friends of Israel. So yeah, thank you very, very much, Rinpoche. If you would like, you can leave now, and I'll share a few more messages with our participants.
Thank you, Ben.
Thank you.
And I almost forgot to say officially thank you to Yagila and Samuela. You two are like the my different voice and better teacher. Me just looking and saying, but you guys have lots of experience to share, and especially Yakila. Many times I told my Israeli friends that I have a great hope and for you, so that you born in Israel and you have to bloom in Israel, and you have to and plus your sense of humor is needed at this moment. Okay. Thank you very much, everybody. So now I take a leave. Thank you.
Thank you, Rinpoche. Bye-bye. So for all of our friends here, I'd just like to mention one more time, the Dharma Friends of Israel is a non-profit organization. We operate solely on donations and volunteers. Everything we do here is totally dependent on everyone's kindness and generosity. So if you'd like to support the future activities of Dharma Friends of Israel, in whatever way you can afford and are happy to give, please see the links for the donation in the chat box here or in our website in the course page, and also if you just go into the website. In the course page, you also have it in English, so if you go down, you can see it. And also, if you feel the wish to support our activities with some of your time and energy, we very much welcome volunteers to help us increase and improve our Dharma activities. We are a relatively small team, so more helping hands will greatly help us spread the Dharma for the benefit of everyone. So now I also like to use this opportunity to share a short message with our Israeli participants, and then we'll conclude with the dedication prayers. אז לחברים הישראלים אני רק רוצה להזכיר שבעוד פחות מחודש הנזיר קרצון, יקהילה שמתרגם עבורנו היום, מגיע לארץ. כולנו מאוד מאוד שמחים, הוא יהיה פה במשך 5 שבועות, כמובן מגוון רחב של לימודים ותרגולים, אז את כל הפרטים אתם יכולים לראות באתר, כל מה שהולך לקרות. בנוסף לזה יש עוד המון גם תרגולים שבועיים, יומיים וכולי וכולי שקורים בשוטף. יאקי מלמד כל יום שישי על הטקסט של שנטידבה, אז כולכם מוזמנים. כל הפרטים אתם יכולים לראות באתר. So with this, I would like to hand it over to Venerable Katzen to lead the dedication prayers. Thank you very much.
All right, so before I do so, I also would like to thank Simon. Thank you very much, Master Simon.
Thank you, indeed. Thank you.
For the dedications, I will share the screen. Actually, maybe what I thought of doing for English speakers, you can do your own dedication prayers as we're going to do the dedication in Hebrew. What we'll do now is I will read through just my, I will mention a few points from Rinpoche's last bit, do a rough translation of that into Hebrew, and then we're going to end up with a dedication prayer. Stay and listen to the Hebrew. You're most welcome. Otherwise, you are welcome to do your own prayers at your own time. אז לפני שנעבור לתפילות ההקדשה, לתפילות המסיימות, רימפוצ'ה אמר שהוא ויתר על השאלות והתשובות בסוף, מאחר והוא אמר שיש לו עוד כמה דברים שהוא צריך לעשות, אבל הוא ביקש מאיתנו בסוף המפגש להמשיך לתמוך אחד בשני, אחד בשנייה, להמשיך לעבוד אחד עם השני ולתמוך אחד בשני, אחד בשנייה, מה שנקרא עבודת צוות. זה חשוב בכל משפחה, זה חשוב גם בכל ארץ. אנחנו חייבים לתמוך, לעזור אחד לשני, אחת לשנייה. באופן נרחב זה מה שאנחנו קוראים לו בודיצ'יטה, אבל באופן יותר אפשר לומר מצומצם, אפשר לקרוא לזה תמיכה אחד בשני. וזה בדיוק רלוונטי בתקופה הנוכחית, בתקופת המלחמה שאנחנו חווים כרגע בישראל. כאשר אנחנו פוגשים במישהו, מישהי שהם לגמרי עובדי עצות, שחושבים מה אני יכול לעשות עכשיו, אנחנו צריכים לתמוך בהם, לעודד אותם, לתת להם כוח. כשאיקי וגילה היו בהודו לפני כמה שבועות, הם פגשו את סרקונג רימפוצ'ה, דיברו על המצב כרגע בארץ, וביקשו...
I think if there are any English listeners, then I think that the English prayers will probably not happen. So I think they're going to do the prayers in Hebrew, so we'll probably say, I'll stay on, but I think there won't be the prayers in English. So people are welcome to leave, but make sure to do their own dedication. For sure. Thank you, everybody.
בקרוב הוא גם יוכל להגיע שוב לארץ ולהיפגש איתנו פנים אל מול פנים, וככה שנוכל לחלוק את הדרמה ביחד, נוכל לתרגל ביחד, וגם לחלוק אחד עם השני, עם רימפוצ'ה איתנו, אחד עם השני, את הדרמה ואת איכויות התרגול שלנו. אז זה מה שרימפוצ'ה אמר בסיכומו של דבר. ועכשיו אני רוצה לעבור להקדשות. לפני שנעבור לא, בעצם בואו קודם כל נאמר את ההקדשות ביחד. נתחיל בתפילה לאריכות ימיו של כבוד הדלאי לאמה. בארץ זו המוקפת רכסי הרים מושלגים, מקור הרווחה והאושר ללא יוצא מן הכלל. אבל לא כתשווה הרע ועוצמה תנזין יצו, לא תיוותר את קץ. בזכות חסד זה לא אגיע במהרה, בזכות חסד זה לא אשיג במהרה את מצב הגור בודה, ולהוביל למצב הזה את כל הנודדים עד אחד. לו תודעת ההערה העילאית תקרת הערך שטרם נולדה תיוולד, לו זו שנולדה לא תתנוון ותסגר עוד ועוד. כמו שמנג'ושרי אז הרוח וגם סמנטה בדרה ראו נכוחה את הדברים כפי שהם, ככה הקדיש אף אני את כל פוטנציאל הזכות הזה בדרך הטובה ביותר. לו יהיו הם לי למופת. אקדיש את כל חיוביות השורש הזאת שלי ושל אחרים, בהקדשה של כל הכובשים על חולפים אל מעבר בשלושת הזמנים, היללו הכתובה ביותר. לו יהיה בכוחי לעסוק במעשה הבודיסטווה הנעלים. אז תודה רבה. Thank you very much for the people who stayed along. Thank you very much for the people in Australia, for the people in Madrid, for Simon again, ולידידה דרמה. עכשיו אני תוהה האם יש לנו היום עוד מפגש של שאלות ותשובות? אוקיי. אז השעה, אז אני חושב אצלכם בארץ, אצלכם זה עוד מעט 3? אוקיי.
כן, 3.
קרה ל3 עכשיו.
אוקיי. בואו ניקח 5 דקות הפסקה וניפגש עוד 5 דקות.
תודה רבה, יקילה. ואני
תודה.
שלחתי דנה בביט, שלמנהלים שידעו בביט יש. בסדר? לטלפון של ידידי אדם.
Simon, thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much.
You are still interpreter, so we can't hear you. But...
Hang on, maybe until.
Thank you, Simon.
Thanks.
Thank you, everybody. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Shalom.
All right.
Shalom.
Thank you very much, Simon, for all your help. Cool.
Maybe you would like to ask
You
a
too.
question in Hebrew. כמה בדיחות.